Thanks for putting this together, Julia. Thank you everybody for taking some time today to meet with me here on Zoom. I'm in a hotel room right now, and I'm at the Duda Partner Summit, which is where they invite all of their top agencies to come and learn about their product roadmap and everything like that. And a massive conversation starter right now is AEO and AI search changing. Yext was talking about AI search changing. So I've put together a presentation here today that's really going to focus on showing you the money and how to actually sell this, how to deliver it, how to communicate the value of it, rather than it just being this hypothetical situation. Because there's conversation about it's just SEO. It's not. It's so much different than SEO. And so I'm excited to shed some light on you guys for there. I've got a presentation I'm going to be sharing on my screen, and I'm going to be walking you through some of the tools that I use, how I deliver this service for my agency, which is a $2.5 million agency in Connecticut, all in-house, focusing on just local clients. So with that being said, I'm going to share my screen here, and you guys should see it. The title is How to Sell, Price, and Deliver Local AEO in 2026. This is something that I'm actively doing right now. This is not hypothetical. We have clients that are on retainer for AEO services and a bunch of other services combined. So, but a little bit about myself. My name is Ruan Marinho. I founded a digital marketing agency called Develomark in 2018, and we only work on local AEO and SEO for clients. And then I recently founded a software I'm going to showcase to you what that does today, that allows you to run quick AI visibility snapshots for businesses like with just a few inputs really affordably. And so I've been doing this for a long time. We've helped over hundreds of small businesses get results using digital marketing. So today I'm going to talk about the AEO offer itself because it's a lot different than the SEO offer. The cadence might be very similar, but really we're going to look at the AEO offer, the pricing model, the delivery checklist, and then the reporting cadence. Tools like Claude, tools like Google Search Console, tools like your website master have made this really easy for you to actually deliver. So today I'm just going to show you a practical way of doing this with one of our real clients that's on retainer right now, is very happy with our service. And the ironic thing is, he found us through ChatGPT. So that's the moment I realized, whoa, this AEO thing is very real. And so I'm going to be covering a bunch of stuff here today around that. So I'm excited to be sharing this with you guys. But let's start with a simple question. I used to ask the room, when was the last time you used Google? And when I asked that question, everybody would raise their hands. And so the question I have here for you guys today is, when was the last time you used ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini? And most of you are going to say the last time I used it was 15 minutes ago. The adoption of these tools have become so overwhelmingly positive because they're just genuinely that useful. So when I start a sales conversation with a customer, especially if they found us through GPT, I'm immediately demonstrating the value that AEO is a very real thing that they need to pay attention to. So I'll ask them, when was the last time you used AI? And most of them will say, very recently. And then I'll ask them, when's the last time you did a traditional search? Much more of them are starting to say, very rarely. And that's showing them the adoption of this happening in real time. And here's the deal. AI SEO terms are growing rapidly, right? SEO as a term generally is steady and it's even declining. But when you add the term SEO, this is where it's becoming an exploding topic. So for your agency to position itself to help these local SMBs be in front of these chat engines for their customers, you want to be where the trend is headed. And in fact, each and every time I mention SAEO to a customer, they're excited about it. For once, after like 10 years, they've been bombarded with SEO offers. I can get you ranked on Maps. I can get you ranked on Google. I can get you ranked here. They're tired of hearing that. AEO is this fresh thing that they can wrap their heads around because they're also using all of these chat products just like you are. So this is a chart from Ahrefs showing you search volume. Demand is skyrocketing for AEO related terms. So position yourself. And SEO has just fundamentally changed. This is what we look at now. We look at visibility rather than clicks. And I'm going to show you all sorts of ways to measure this on today's webinar. But the discovery funnel starts in ChatGPT, starts in Perplexity, starts in Claude, and then the user, as I'm going to show you today, will double check your website, double check your maps, double check your reviews, etc. And probably one of the most important things that you guys need to know is that Google, the big dog, is in a lawsuit against SERP API, which is the data provider that ChatGPT pays to get Google search results. This lawsuit is not random. It is something everybody on this webinar should be paying attention to because that's going to disrupt how ChatGPT serves its results. So all of a sudden, citations like Yelp, citations like Better Business Bureau, Yext, Synup, all of these different platforms that syndicate web data, those relevant citations are going to become important because ChatGPT won't be able to use Google search results. So guys, when I say it is the most exciting time to be in digital marketing, it is true. Things are changing, and this is opportunity for you to reinvent how your clients are being discovered. So let's get started. First and foremost, what is AEO? The difference here is very simple. SEO gets you clicked, AEO gets you mentioned, it gets you cited. We're not thinking in keywords anymore, we're thinking in natural queries. And the fact of the matter is, nobody can predict what somebody's going to type, nobody can predict what somebody's going to use in a conversation, and nobody, most importantly, can predict prompt volume. In a traditional SEO, tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, Moz, they were able to tell us how many people searched for a given keyword phrase. Nowadays, it's impossible for us to know what prompts people are searching and how much they're searching for those prompts. So the strategy becomes how often can a brand communicate? And I'm going to show you my exact workflow on how I sell it and then how I actually deliver on today's call. Now, the major differences here is that traditional SEO is very technical. AEO is more credibility, structured, and how much can you communicate. Traditional SEO was the click. AEO is the citation. Traditional SEO was the page. Now we want the snippet. Traditional SEO was search optimization. Now we want our content to be conversational. Traditional SEO was click-through rate. AEO is now share of model. Traditional SEO was user behavior. It was researching and browsing multiple sources. Now it's just giving you the answer to your question after doing all of this work for you. So here is what you need to know when communicating this with customers. It used to be a human being visiting multiple websites and then making a decision. Now it's just an agent visiting your website, getting what it needs, and formulating a response to that user based on what it knows about you, its memory about you, where it knows you're located. So local still becomes extremely crucial for this type of stuff. And then it gives you an answer and a recommendation. And guess what? You, as the agency provider, are in complete control of how it answers and the discoverability. I know it may seem like you're not, but you actually are. And I'm going to show you that entire process today. So in one single sentence, what separates SEO versus AEO? SEO is a human being visiting your website. AEO is an agent visiting your website. A robot is now making the decision for the consumer on their behalf. A very critical component for you to explain to your clients. And the website is now the primary data source. Whereas before, it may have been the Google Maps. It may have been something else. It may have been the social media page. The primary data source is now the website. The website will be the most important thing going forward into this AI search era because it is the most credible thing that the AI can cite because it's coming directly from the business. That first party data, after millions of prompts that were searched through Yext, has shown us that the website is the first party piece of data that AI can trust the most. So when we add an article like this one you're seeing on the screen, Evergreen Privacy, when somebody searches that in the search results, you'll see it's going to be inside of the AI recommendation and it's also going to be in the search. So the process that I'm going to show you today is going to allow you to accomplish each piece of content for all of the LLMs at once because they all crawl differently. So now that you have a simple understanding of how I communicate the difference between SEO and AEO, because they are different, right? We know that ChatGPT can't search Google anymore. We know that everybody's using LLMs now. We know that it's a robot and not a human. How do you actually sell this? So let's go through what that actually looks like. The first step is a simple sales process. And a Julian organization definitely teaches this really well, which is number one, you're doing well in Google. How are you doing in ChatGPT? Because discoverability of the two are very different. That's the diagnose. Then we have, okay, here's where you are now. Here's where we want to get to. Explaining that gap and then giving them a plan and closing that retainer, actually asking them for that business. Now, here's the thing, guys. This needs to be a part of your culture if you want to win. I am documenting every time a customer has a win from ChatGPT because right now you need to sell it for them to believe it. Because attribution in ChatGPT and Claude is very difficult to track. And we're going to talk a lot about that with a study that we did with real human beings coming into our office, prompting, us looking at their prompts, and then following how they actually made a decision. So here's three typical things that we use to close an AI visibility deal. The first one is getting a general understanding of how that business is performing from traditional search, and we call that a digital presence. Then looking at how that business is comparing to other businesses in its local area, we call that a competitive overview. And then finally, utilizing AI visibility to see how visible they already are for prompts their customers are going to naturally search. So this was the tool that I was telling you guys about. It's called Splash Dash. You can try it for completely free and then upgrade if you actually like it to try the AI visibility. But the digital presence you can run for completely free. I'm using the tool to basically create my offer architecture, and I can show you a little bit about how that starts. So this is a simple report that we're running for one of our clients right now that I analyzed before today's call to see how visible they are in their area for a set list of 10 prompts. So we searched and simulated 10 prompts. You can see them here. Now, the cool thing about this is I'm going to always use their location extension here so we actually get visibility results. And in this case, the client is 50% visible from a simulated prompt of 10. What's great about this too is if I click this search button and I want to show them that this is actually real data, I can simply just run that prompt inside of ChatGPT and they can see and validate that data directly inside of the real LLM. So that's where I'll start with visibility, is just getting a general look to see how visible they are. Now you can see you can increase the prompts. So here's another one that we ran before today's call, which we ran 20 prompts. ChatGPT recommended 20 natural prompts that I can see all of our clients were recommended in. And then it also showed me where they're not recommended in. And that's the gap that you're going to want to create when you're selling ongoing AEO, is always talking about the gap, because you don't know what somebody's going to search inside of the LLM. You can only do a job as a brand to continue communicating that stuff. But I will show you how to start with prompts to track so that you can clearly understand which ones are probably going to be what people are going to search using Google's data. So I hope that that's super clear. There's two types of offer architectures that we use for this. My favorite is the retainer and is waiving anything up front for the customer and really just getting into the monthly retainer. Generally speaking, at Develomark, which is our agency, I'll just pull it up right here, we do it two ways. One is we have to make your website, and then two is we work on that website on a monthly basis. If you search our agency, you'll see that a lot of our customers are extremely satisfied with our service. And the reason for that is because what we do, we know works. And I'm going to show you that. I'm going to give that to you today from an agency that's actually doing it and has successfully scaled it and is scaling it. So for us, what our offer architecture looks like is we have a 12-month contract. Now, I know most people are thinking contracts, customers hate those words, but the quality of your business depends on what you let in and what you let go. So for us, we know that if I ask a customer for $24,000 up front, they're always going to say no. They don't trust us. They don't want to spend that much money up front. This is how we've been conditioned to buy things. When we buy a house, you don't just pay for the house in cash. When we buy a car, you don't pay for the car in cash. When you buy a tuition, you don't pay for the tuition in cash. All of this stuff is broken down over monthly payments. This is how we have been conditioned to make purchases. So AEO, digital marketing, software subscriptions, that's not any different. Think about what you want to charge, let the customer break it down into these small monthly payments, and give them everything that's needed for them to succeed. I highly recommend doing this as a complete buffet style, getting the customer in, getting them the results, communicating those results, getting the referrals, and then scaling, which I'm going to show you exactly how to do. So for us, that means making their website. And the example of the customer I'm going to show you today is this one here, is making their website, charging them on a monthly fee for 12 months, doing all of the content, all of the video, all of the photo, everything that they're going to need to succeed, getting them the results that we're looking for, and then scaling, trying not to nitpick little things like that. Now, most agencies may be scared of contracts because they think customers are going to say no, they think customers are going to cancel midway, etc. The contract protects me as the service provider and the customer because I'm doing $24,000 worth of work potentially within 3 months. I'm sprinting to get a lot of this work done as fast as I can for the customer, and then they're continuing to make installments on it long term. It's just like when you finance a car. You get the car on day one. That company gives you the car on day one, and then you make your monthly payments. So for us, those deliverables are the website, the photos, the videos, and the ongoing AEO strategy. So that's what we found to be super helpful for us. Now, for you guys to just visualize this, this is our delivery timeline. We get the website up and running, and then we start doing AEO execution. We need the website to perform solid AEO execution. And the reason for that is because we need to be able to control the content, the URLs, the website page, the schema markup, the Google business profile, all of these little things that we know are going to affect LLM visibility. I can't do if I don't manage the website. So that's generally speaking what that's going to look like. Now, I gave you an example price that I would charge to give them all of this broken out over a year. This, of course, is just an example. I recommend that you pick pricing that's based on your financial goals and what you know works for you. But I'm going to say this, guys, it's not perfect. You're going to sell stuff, you're going to learn from it, and you're going to refine. For us, here are the things that ultimately impact pricing. It's going to be how many locations, the competition, how authoritative they are, how much content we need, and how many service lines they're optimizing for. So for this customer, as an example, this customer was very straightforward. This is a $1,200 per month customer that I'm showcasing to you right now, getting great results, and I'm going to talk to you a lot more about that. And that's simple for a landscaping company that has one location. Super easy for him to sign up with us. He actually found us on ChatGPT. That's when I knew AEO was real. And that's when I knew just by showing up in ChatGPT or Google LLM, whatever he searched in, that that was worth real money to us. So if I go to Google and I type in AI SEO agencies in here, you can see that we're going to be one of the companies that are recommended. I'm sure if I did this in ChatGPT, the same thing would happen as well. I don't know what he prompted, but I could tell you this much. He saw an AI result because he mentioned it when I was talking to him about attribution. So super, super critical that you understand how to affect your pricing. Now, let's talk about the pitch. You're selling the visibility, not the traffic. In fact, most websites are losing a ton of traffic. So if you continue to report on traffic, you're going to you're going to fight the customer ongoing because their charts are always going to be going down because zero click is taking more of that. So Splashdsh, the tool that I mentioned to you before, allows you to run this AI visibility at a scaled simulation. In this case, it's 8 prompts that we did, and it's showcasing to us where this business is showing up so that I can communicate with that customer to sign up with us, or I can use that to actually retain them with our business and our agency. Every single time you do AEO, you have to start with an audit. An audit is going to give you a good understanding of if this customer is even going to rank for that certain keyword they're targeting. In this case, you can see we're looking at a couple of key metrics that we found are going to be critical for AEO results. The first one is their domain authority. How authoritative is that website compared to the market? So in this example, what I'm showing you is I'm showing you this business compared to their local marketplace, and they're 13.7 points higher than the average installation company in that area. So if I take on this client, which I did, and this is an active customer of ours, if I take on this client, I can pretty much guarantee him that when I start doing these services, he's going to get a return on investment because his average stats are a lot higher than his competition in the market. Guys, this is a probing game. This is if you take a customer, how likely are you to get them results? You can't guarantee it, right? There's factors outside of your control. You just can't guarantee, but you can give a good amount of prediction based on these key stats. The next one is reviews. He's 9.4x higher than the average customer in that marketplace. Most people that do AEO and SEO, not that they're bad at it, they just choose the wrong customer. Being careful of who you let in is much more important than growing your revenue. I promise you. Because the last thing you want to do as you start scaling is taking on a bunch of clients that are going to strain your team, make their morale go down. And yes, using freelancers, using white label partners, they're human beings too. And so they know when you send them a crap project, they're not going to like you as much. I like to have complete zen and peace in my business. I take on the customers that I know are going to have success, and I say no a lot more than I say yes. And these are the key things I'm looking at: domain authority, reviews, and domain age. How much higher or lower are they than in the local market? And if they're higher, I'll always take them on, and I'll always do my best to get their business. And you want to show them where they're currently showing up in answers. I mentioned Splashdsh. There's other tools that you can use to do this. I personally find that Splashdsh is the easiest go to market. It's 29 bucks a month to do it, but you can use other tools or you can do it manually. If you showcase to them you're pretty visible in the market versus you're not visible in the market, that'll help you either sell or retain the customer. I'm trying to figure out how many prompts they're visible for and how many prompts they're not visible for and continue to make that a part of the conversation within my agency. and where they don't show up in answers. This is just as important, especially if you're doing the sales process. Are you showing up? Are you not showing up? Hey, we need to work on this. And I'm going to show you exactly in the second part of this webinar what that delivery process actually looks like. And here's what you're selling. You are ultimately selling the gap. You are never selling where they currently are. You want to tell them if they're doing well, you want to tell them if they're doing bad, and you want to tell them the promise of the gap using the delivery funnel I'm going to show you in just a moment here. So that's what you're selling, is the gap. Now, let's talk about AEO delivery. But before I do that, I want to show you how real this stuff actually is, okay? One of the best ways I start AEO conversations with our customers is I will send an email newsletter from us that allows customers to know what we're doing for AEO on a consistent basis. So this is an example of an email that my agency sends on a weekly basis. What we'll do is we'll start the content funnel, and I'm going to show you what that content funnel is in just a second to actually start ranking for a lot of prompts. I'll start the content funnel, and I'll basically write a message that looks something like this to our existing clients. It will really say, most businesses, etc. Here's the truth. You're not imagining it. This is very real. I link the video. I tell them what the difference is. And then I say, if you want to start this conversation, reply to this email. Almost every time I send that message, I get responses that look something like this, that just basically say, do I need to set up a call for this? This gives me the opportunity to now explain AI as a service to the customer if they're not already using it. So a lot of you are probably sitting on an email database of customers, and this fulfillment process I'm going to show you is just going to completely close that gap. And then you're going to be able to start this conversation with them over and over and over and over again, and you're going to build a healthy AEO business long term. I hope you guys are excited about that because I'm a nerd. I love doing the technical. I'm very technical. I'm very good at SEO. I'm very good at AEO. I'm not a great web designer, but that's why I have a great team to do it. So let's get through the actual delivery process. So to start, we know a couple of things. As I mentioned before, ChatGPT is not going to be able to use Google's results for much longer. They're suing the data provider that ChatGPT uses to scrape Google results. So we know the website's important, citations are important, reviews are important, authority is important, site age is important. These will never change. These are just business truths that will stay forever, no matter if TikTok becomes the main LLM or ChatGPT, right? Here's the flywheel that I use, and you can use this for all of your clients. And I'm going to show you a real example. The first thing that we do is we shoot a video, whether that's a Zoom interview, an in-person call, a phone, a professional video. We do it all at DevelopMark, right? And that video is the starting point of our AEO process. And I'm going to tell you why. Every single time you make a video, this one included, right? Every single time you make a video, you get a transcript. As you can see on the right side here, there is a transcript. This transcript, LLMs are already looking at. Perplexity, Claude, Gemini, all of them are citing YouTube videos. So for me, it's really important that when we make a video, in this case, I'll just show you DevelopMark. When we make a video, it's clearly published on our YouTube channel, just like this. And that YouTube video has the keywords that we're looking to rank for. And so that creates the start of our process. Then once that's uploaded, we now have a clean transcript. For us, that looks like this. I can paste that transcript into a tool like ChatGPT, and I can say something like, write a blog about this, right? So now that YouTube video, that transcript is now going to become a web page. That's what AIs are going to cite the most. They're going to cite the web page. So I can take this content that's unique from my customer. They said their own words into the video, whether it's a Zoom meeting, an in-person meeting, whatever that might be. There's a YouTube video, there's a Vimeo video, whatever you're uploading that content to. I recommend YouTube. Google owns YouTube, so Gemini is going to cite those results a lot more. And then I'm turning that into a piece of content that's going to be publicly available directly on the website. So from there, once that's available, I'm adding frequently asked questions to that web page as well. In this case, I'll actually show you that exact blog that we added so you can see how this actually works on our website. So here's the actual video. Here's the piece of content that we created around that video. So you can see it's a really in-depth blog article covering that. And then I'm adding a healthy amount of frequently asked questions directly on the page. We know that LLM crawlers like looking at schema. They like looking at frequently asked questions. They like lists. They like tables. So as much as possible, I'm working with my design team to take the content that our accounts management team is getting and then following this process directly on the web page. So now, as you can see here, I have a URL. This URL is really what LLMs are going to start looking at, right? This kind of information. So if I search this exact URL inside of Google, let's say, you're going to see that the indexation is going to work really well. And over time, you're going to show up for more prompts every single time you follow this content flywheel. From there, I distribute it. This could be Reddit. This could be Facebook. This could be LinkedIn. This could be anywhere where I can put that link publicly somewhere and share that piece of content. This is the flywheel I have found to get the most results for AEO. It starts with the video, it starts with uploading it starts with getting a transcript, creating a blog, adding FAQs, distribution. Distribution should be wherever you think that's important. Could be first party, could be third party. I'll show you in just a second how to optimize for Reddit. But ultimately, you see the example down here below. That's how you're going to get these citations to work really well in your favor. Now, uploading that piece of content, it can go anywhere. When you start with the video, you can take that content, you can send it everywhere. For us as an agency, once I have this piece of content here, I can put that on my website. I can put that on my social media. I can send it as an email newsletter. I can put it on Reddit. I can put it on TVs. I can put it wherever I want. Becoming a video first culture is an incredible area of opportunity for any agency right now, especially as content writers, research and analysts, all of this stuff start to become a lot more commoditized. Adding somebody who's good at video into your culture, into your organization, making it a part of what you do, you're going to get tremendously more citations than the competition. I promise you. So that's where we'll take that information and we'll distribute it so that every time Perplexity, Claude, Gemini, etc., does one of these searches, we are more likely to get recommended. So Google's ChatGPT, all of this stuff is going to cite specific pieces of content in your actual article, in your video, etc. So the more descriptive you can get with the facts, unique information, information from the customer, using EEAT, showcasing who wrote that information, the more likely you are to get cited. What you don't want to do as an LLM strategy, which a lot of people are doing, is they're going to these LLMs and they're saying, write me a blog about AEO, right? And this strategy here is not going to work. The information you're getting from the LLM is not going to rank as much as the information and the unique perspective you get from your customers, okay? That's why your account managers, your support staff, your team, your emails, everything, you need to be getting information from the customer. That needs to be a part of your culture. What does that look like for Develomark? Well, for us, for our agency, what that looks like is we've created a culture where our agency, our key performance metric is how often are we going out to see the customer? When we go out, what information are we getting? And then turning that content into videos, into photos, etc. So you can see that this is a large culture play that we do is getting to the customer as often as possible so that we can build the relationship, get the content we need, and to avoid creating this type of content that AI is not going to cite. Okay, so I hope that makes sense there. Now, the technical parts of this too, we use the Duda content management system. I know a lot of people use that because it's so easy to just turn on schema markup. It's easy. They're focused on AEO. They are a platform that is really thinking about how LLMs are interacting with their actual data and their websites. And so a lot of platforms are doing this too. So I'm not saying Duda is the only one that you should use, but it is a great option if you want to work with a content management system that is thinking LLM first and giving you really cool tools to actually make this possible and automate that. So most of the times, crawlers are going to visit the website. Letting them visit the website is absolutely critical. One of the simple ways that we do this is on every single website that we make. This is one that we have right now. We have something called an LLMS sitemap. And basically, this sitemap here allows crawlers from ChatGPT, Claude, etc., to see our website in a simple TXT format and see all of the URLs that are available on that website. It's different than a website sitemap. You've probably seen something that looks like this, sitemap.xml, which allows you to see the URLs for crawlable for Google. This one is different where it's giving this standard format for all LLMs. Most content management systems will allow you to just create this with one click. We do it with Duda. It does it automatically when we publish a website, and it's just done for us. Every time we add a URL and we publish, it's now crawlable from all the LLMs. Most of the issues that we've seen with LLMs prompt visibility is that you're actually blocking, whether you know it or not, the LLM traffic to actually get to your page. And that's a huge disservice to your AEO strategy. Now, the next thing is adding indexing and everywhere. So if we think about Gemini, Gemini can access Google ChatGPT needs to rely on Bing. ChatGPT needs to rely on Yelp. ChatGPT needs to rely on these third-party citations because Google is ChatGPT's biggest competitor. So they're not just going to let ChatGPT take all its data. That's exactly why there's a massive lawsuit going on about internet and web scraping. So indexation of when you create that new article, in our case, it's when I create a piece of content that might look like this. Let's say it's a real estate page and I'm talking about property disputes, whether it's something like this. I want to make sure this content is indexed across the web, not just Google, right? Because Google's not the biggest dog in town anymore. There's a conglomerate going against it for the first time in history. And the outcome that you're looking for is citations and mentions. So I do this a very simple way, and I'm going to show you exactly right now. The first thing I do is I look at Google Search Console to see what kind of queries people are already searching for the customer. In this case, you can see the biggest term for this customer is landscape. Now, this doesn't make sense though, because this customer doesn't do landscape, they do design. So I may filter down the keywords that you can see that customers are actually typing in. So if I take this search term and I go to Google and I type in their geo modifier, ideally what we're looking for is for that customer to show up in the organic search results, right? And in this case, they are, and they're also showing up in the LLM search results. I'm using Splashdot to just quickly show me that at scale so I can just quickly simulate prompts and just see if they're available in that actual result and that actually links to their website. But what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get ideas of what my prompts are actually going to be. Then, once I'm ready to start working on this customer, I'll set up a project in an LLM visibility tool such as Peak AI. There's tools like Profound. There's a lot more affordable options out there in the market, but I need something that's going to make sense with my workflow. I personally use Peak AI for this. So what I'll do is I'll take those natural prompts and I'll put them into a tool like this and I'll see where they're visible, where they're not, what their share of voice is, and I'll continue to add prompts to this as I create content for their website. So for example, in this case, the client, Davida Landscape Designs, is the most visible in their marketplace for these prompts that I have selected. Now, that's not by guessing, right? This is a very intentional strategy. And I bet a lot of you probably have clients that are already doing so well. You're just not tracking it well. And so in this case, I can easily show the client where they're showing up, how much they're showing up across multiple different LLMs. In this case, I'm using ChatGPT, AI Overview, and AI Mode. For most of you that are selling to local service-based businesses, this is where they're going to find you. So I will use this simple process to do this. I'll go into the website, I'll add a piece of content. Let's say it's a blog article. And then what I'll do is, based on this new piece of content, I'll add prompts into the project that I think he's going to show up for the most based on that. This piece of content was created by interviewing the customer or not just throwing up ChatGPT slop. So we're interviewing the client once or twice per month. That gives my account managers a touch point. That gives us a repeatable process. That gives us the site visit that I was telling you about. And then I'll throw in those new prompts into his entire visibility dashboard, and I will make sure to always include the geo modifier. Because if you just put in 3D landscape design in here, there's no shot the client's going to show up for it. You've got to throw in the geo modifier because that's what's going to make sure that they're going to actually start ranking for those things, and then the visibility will actually show up. Now, as we have the website live and we're going through this cadence, I'm also using tools like Claude to analyze the form submissions that are coming in through the website. All DevelopMark websites utilize form tracking to showcase to us what people are interested in, etc. This data gives us really great opportunities for us to start creating new content directly on the website. So this is how I'm gathering ideas of what people are searching and then actually making that directly put on the website and then adding the prompts into a tool like Peak AI so that I can constantly go ahead and keep their prompt visibility looking well. The challenge here, guys, is that you're not that you're not doing AEO, you're not communicating it well. So I hope that this process is showing you a little bit about how to do that really well. My goal here is to increase the visibility for all of their prompts versus their competition, communicate this with them, and then continue doing that on an ongoing basis. So that's the outcome that you're looking for. Quick proof of concept and wins, something that you can easily do, which we do with a lot of our websites. If I go to this customer, which is a manufacturing company that we made, if I go to this website and I just go look at their form submissions, we have lazy loading on, so it might take a while because I'm in hotel Wi-Fi. You can see that where did you find us? We're adding AI slash ChatGPT into the dropdown. And this is allowing me to communicate to my customer, look, people are finding you through GPT. Let's keep investing there. What's new at your business? What machines have you introduced? Let's talk about an employee. Let's talk about your 25th anniversary. What services don't you do? This is the ongoing cadence that I'm trying to communicate with the customer. I'm trying to motivate them with proof and measurement that this actually works. Here's another example. Every time someone tells me they got their first customers from ChatGPT, right? Because our agency is positioned as, yo, we're an AEO agency. This is what we do. People are finding with GPT. If you get a success, share it with me. And then I'm using this information in our sales process. And look, it doesn't discriminate. That's the beautiful thing about it. One person here is a med spa, one's a dentist, one's an electrocoder, one's a tree service. This works everywhere. Not a specific type of customer uses AI. They all use AI, whether they know it or not. We're all using it. So any type of industry this can work for. And send these visibility scores often, especially if you're trying to sell a customer. So let me give you an example of one here that I sent the other day that actually got me the sale. And this customer was waiting to actually sign the agreement. And so my follow up was really simple. I basically said, last time we spoke, you talked about ChatGPT. Hey, I ran a report to see how visible you are. Here's the report. I used Splashdash's to create a very simple GPT visibility report. I ran 30 prompts, and then I went ahead and sent her this. And her response was, this looks great. Let's get started. We want to work on AI. I know it's important, etc. So utilizing AI visibility, these little snapshots, gives you a reason to communicate with them. You don't want to send a prospect an email that says just following up. Give them something. Give them a video. Give them a visibility report. Showcase them something cool your agency's done. Try to do 3, 7, 14, 30-day follow-up process. On your 30th day, just tell them this might not be the right time. Take them out of your CRM. They're not going to be a customer anymore, and that's okay. You put your energy elsewhere. Not everybody's going to be perfect for you, and you've got to understand that. But at least with this data, it gives me an opportunity to communicate with them how this is actually going to work. So I love doing that. And then the following one is communicating the competitors often. All visibility tools are going to show you who they're competing with, etc. So, with that being said, I'm open to taking any questions that you guys might have about selling and retaining AEO and visibility clients.
Ron, that is amazing. Okay, Subrata has his hand raised. Anyone's welcome to come
Hey,
off mute.
I really need to rewatch it again at a half the speed. It was a super first presentation. Awesome. My question is, if some business is just starting out, how we can rank them in AEO because requires lots of trophy content also, Google review, Yelp review, etc. But a new business, they don't have that much. Even that's true for my own marketing agency. I just started out, right?
Yeah,
So, how to cover that gap during the early process?
that's a great question. So, the way that you need to look at this is very similar to the way you need to look at weight loss, right? You're not going to lose 100 pounds in a week. You're going to rank for one or two prompts when you start, and that's okay. Your goal is to be consistent over time and to get more specific with what you're trying to rank for, just like with traditional SEO. So instead of trying to go for AI agency near me, try going for something like AI agency for coffee shops near me, and then start building that proof of concept and instilling that confidence into your customers long term. Once they do get a lead from it, or once you do get a lead from it, now you have energy and now you have confidence to keep going. Every single win, whether it's small or big, is another reason for you to keep going. And it's your responsibility as the agency to communicate that with the customer. So, starting with the basics, understand ChatGPT is not looking at Google reviews. So, this automatically democratizes AEO and ChatGPT. Most of the times, we found it's looking at Yelp. Most businesses completely ignore Yelp. They don't even have reviews on there. So I would start by understanding what LLMs are looking at and optimizing for that and not just thinking about the Google business profile. Because that's going to work for Gemini, that might not work for ChatGPT. Millions of people are using ChatGPT every day. So, Subrata, what I would do is I would focus on the first win, and then I would communicate that. Second win, communicate that. Third win, communicate that, and just keep communicating. Do not stop communicating. Every pound my client loses, I'm communicating that pound and I'm telling them how they're going to lose their next pound.
Okay, thank you so much. I have one more question if I can ask. Uh, in your example, many times you are reaching out to the existing customer who are your otherwise customer, and you are offering AU as a new service. But do you do AEO with as a prospecting also to get a new customer who are not your current clients basically? And what method do you use for that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So that's what I was showing you before is Splashdsh. So
Okay.
this is a simple tool you can use for free. It only works in the United States, just as a heads up for anybody that's international. And I can go in here and I can type in a simple form field, and it will run that report and give me something that looks like this. And I absolutely use that for prospecting because now I can showcase to them very quickly if they're showing up, if they're not showing up, and why, and where their competitors are showing up, etc. So I can give them this level of report in a few minutes without having to do anything, no integration. So I absolutely use it for the prospecting process.
Thank you. So I'll check that out. Is just $29 flat? I can run it for any number of business.
So it's 29 bucks a month for 100 reports per month. So you can run it 100 times per month.
Okay, that's good enough. Thank you. Julia will be waiting for the recording.
There's some questions in the chat. One, can you repeat how you come up with prompts for Splashdsh?
So that's a really great question. What we do with Splashdsh specifically is we'll take the business. In this case, it's the landscape design company that I told you about. Splashdsh is going to analyze that URL, and then it's going to come up with relevant prompts that users may search for this. The power of this too is you can turn these off. You can see how I can hide some of these prompts, and that'll affect my overall visibility score. So if any of them are irrelevant, I can quickly do that directly inside of there. When I share the report, the user, meaning the client or the end user that's going to see it, they're only going to see the selections that you made. So if this isn't relevant, in this case, it's not, or I'm sorry, this is relevant, then you can hide it or you can enable it, and that'll affect the overall visibility score of the report. When you run the report, you can change how big of a net you want to cast. The maximum you can do is 50 prompts. If you were to do this in any of the other LLM visibility tools, they're going to charge you an arm and a leg. This allows you to do it really quickly, not having to set up any integrations, and you can control what your customer sees on the end.
Great. Another question in chat. Which tools do you use to find or build the visibility scores for clients? Is it just Splashdsh or other tools combined with it?
So there's a couple of ways to do it. The most powerful way that I found is using Splashdsh to just make it quick. I run it and then I go to work and then I come back to my computer and it's done. The next way is you can look at your Google Search Console data and you can have it understand what might be a prompt. So in this case, I can just prompt myself over and over again if I don't want to spend the money. So for example, I typed this into ChatGPT manually. This was a prompt that Splashdsh gave me. And now I can tell the client, oh, look, you're actually being mentioned. That's great. I can do this manually 50 times to get a good basis of that. That's a way to do that manually where you don't have to necessarily pay for a tool like Splashdsh. The value of using this is it'll compile it for you and make it look pretty, and you can change the colors and you can put your logo on it. Whereas you can also just do it manually. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll validate these results by clicking search and then actually searching this prompt directly inside of Splashdsh to validate that it's real. When they become a customer, I want to make this very clear, then I'll switch over to an AI visibility platform like this. Splashdsh does not do this. Splashdsh is just an ad hoc report, creates it once, allows you to sell with it. This will allow you to track their visibility over time, which is really important if you're going to follow this cadence with the customer. So I recommend Peak AI for this. They're not cheap, but they do work really well. Or Profound, which is another tool, a little bit more expensive, a little bit more for enterprise. I found that this one is a lot better for local.
Great. Two more questions in the chat. The first, any thoughts on national brands or B2B businesses?
Yeah, so for B2B, you're going to want to get super specific because when you search naturally in GPT, sometimes it uses its memory to provide a response. It won't search for a business. So for me, the prompts that I found for B2B have to get really specific. So, for example, I showed you the example of the zinc plating company as an example. I will try to do something super specific, try to regionalize it. Most manufacturing businesses, most B2B businesses, they will type in regionalized queries. So utilize your Google Search Console, utilize your ads data to help you understand what prompts make the most sense. We're hyper focused on local, and so we really do that. And in terms of the suggestions for the visibility tools in the UK, I think Peak AI works in the UK. I don't know if it allows you to do a visibility snapshot. I would just do a simple search in ChatGPT, do the AEO process, and just find one that works for you. Eventually, Splashdsh will be available in the UK.
Great. Any other questions? Folks can come off mute. You can drop them in the chat. Oh, Yvonne has a question.
All right. Hey. So, I mean, first of all, thank you. This is great. My question is around like the dimension side. So, how do you guys do outreach at scale, or do you guys feel that like the website of it is a lot more important?
When you say the mentions of it, help me understand your question a little bit more.
Publications. So publications, like
Oh,
if I'm trying to
publication.
get publications and things like that, yeah.
So I'm going to show you a couple of ways when we're prospecting to just quickly gather this snapshot. So the report that I showed you that's free to use, like you can literally sign up now and just use it for free. It's called Digital Presence. And this one will give me a good understanding of where they're currently being mentioned. So for
Okay.
us, it's really important during the sales process for me to know this information. But the cool thing about the GPT visibility report is it'll show you which citations are actually driving a lot of these results. So for most of the results we're seeing, there are Reddit threads that are actually impacting this pretty dramatically. So this will give you a list of what's actually guiding this result, and I'll just start reverse engineering. Typically, what I'll do is, and what's cool about these is I could just throw this into Claude. For example, I could say analyze report, and then Claude will actually just give me a text format of what to actually do, and then you can use whatever AI flow that you want to do to start doing that. But typically what I'll do is I'll rank the publications, the citations, whatever is the most important that's impacting the visibility, and then I'll start with that. So a lot of that is actually these Reddit threads that are talking about landscape designers, whatever the service is. So my work is literally just going in here and saying, check out client name, they helped with X, and then doing that as a service. This alone is an entire agency service that I assume a lot of agencies are going to start doing. So this is a great way to do it. Understanding where they're currently already listed is a great way of doing it, and then using the traditional methods as well. So I will say, you're here, here's where you need to be, we can do this for you, we can get started, etc., whatever your call to action might be.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. And then Stephen just shared a comment in chat. Your prompt discovery process is awesome. A simple method that Stephen came up with was to create prompt stems from semantic triples. He put a non-promo video together on how we do this if anyone's interested. Turn the triples
Good
into
ones.
prompts and questions, and then track and measure.
I like
Great.
that. I will definitely check that out.
Any other questions, comments?
I have another question. So you showed sample pricing of $2,000 per month, $24,000 per year. Do you include shooting video within that price? And what kind of videos do you shoot for clients, and what's the frequency?
That's a great question. So the way that I look at it as is somebody that pays me $1,000 a month is not worth $1,000 a month. They could be worth $1,000 a month for 7 years. And when you look at a client that way, your perception of them changes a lot. Because if I'm going to take $1,000 a month from a customer and they're going to stay with me for 7 years, that's worth a mortgage. And so for me, I'm trying to give them as much value as possible to get them results. Because nothing's going to stop your peace of mind than unhappy customers. I promise you in this business. And so you want to keep them happy. So my cadence process is very simple. They all get video. That's a non-negotiable. You have to do video. Whether we're hiring an actor for you to be in front of a camera, or if you're being in front of a camera, or if we're just doing a meeting like this, where I have my little iPhone set up here and I'm on webinar and it looks good, and I'm getting info from you, I'm giving them cadence of when it makes sense. So typically for us, that's once per month. So once per month, your account manager will come to your location. Here's what we're going to cover. Be ready for video. Or once per month, your account manager is going to interview on Zoom. They're going to chop that up. They're going to post it for you. And then they're going to post it on your website. And then we're going to add the AI tracking tools together to see if you're visible over time. That's going to get posted to your LinkedIn, your YouTube, etc. So you become more of an everywhere optimization company, but it starts with the video. So a good cadence that I've found is once per month. And that Zoom interview or in person or whatever it is going to be asking them the questions we know people are searching in their Search Console data, in their ads data, what their goals are, etc. So a lot of the times we'll come prepared to the meeting with what we're going to ask them and then take that content and create several forms of pieces of content around it.
Okay, thank you. That's awesome.
You're
That's a
welcome.
good.
Any other questions or comments? I have lots that I'm taking away from this, Ron. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And question for Julia.
Yes.
So E2M provides this as a service to the white label service to the agencies, marketing agencies.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's correct. And
And
we have an SEO team as well.
do you have any kind of criteria? What's the MRR should be? What kind of clients do you undertake? What kind of agencies do you undertake?
Yeah, our clients are exclusively agencies. So we don't work with any end clients. We only work with agencies. And we actually just had our rebrand yesterday. This is really exciting. I think this is the first time I'm sharing our new website. I just dropped it in chat. Well, I dropped our digital marketing services page in the chat. We have other services as well. So agencies of any size, we usually find best results with teams of 3 or more, but we also work with solopreneurs. But we find that it's helpful when there's a couple people on the team at least, and we work with agencies all the way up to 70 or 100 team members.
No, that in terms of team member, in terms of MRR, any criteria?
No criteria.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if you'd like to talk with someone from our team, you're welcome to click that blue button on the page or send me a message.
Yeah, I'll schedule a meeting. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Any other questions? Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Namita. We're really excited about our new website. Yeah, I love it. Ruan, you are full of so much knowledge. I so appreciate this. Really excited to dig into it more. We'll share the recording with everybody. Would you like to drop your contact info in the chat, Ruan, in case anyone wants to reach out to you? Great.
Yeah, the best place for me is LinkedIn. That's my social media of choice. And that's it. Connect with me on there. Ask any questions you guys might have. And I look forward to the follow-up, Julia.
Fabulous. Yes. Thank you, everyone, for joining today.